place, you little rat dog. Is you missed me today. I had some sugar snap peas. Well guys, welcome back to Red River Living. We are out in the garden today. We're going to kind of give y'all a little tour. We have been dodging the storms here lately. It has been a blessing, the amount of rain that we have been getting. It shows in our grass. Grass needs cutting, and it's Thursday. I think I cut it last Saturday. We have gotten a really good jump start here this spring on the garden. Things are really growing well, and we're just going to kind of walk over and kind of show y'all some of the stuff that we've gotten planted here. As you can tell behind me right here, this is where our corn's at. We planted 8 rows of corn, and last year we've also got 2 and about 1/4 rows of potatoes planted. Looking here at the potatoes, you can see the first row out there. I've been hilling the potatoes up, pulling dirt up on them, and I got this 1 row done so far. This row right here will be the next row that I've got to work on. And guys, we just really been going in between the storms. We got one supposed to come in here tonight even. But anyway, you kind of see the potatoes and how they're coming right along. You can kind of see how we've healed the dirt up on this row. And then this row right here is the next row. I'll be working on this row, pulling the dirt up. And you pull the dirt up on them for them to continue making potatoes off to the sides of them and all. Debbie's got her some beets growing right here in this row. And they're coming right along. I got to get in here and get some grass pulled out of them and all. But then the corn, as you can tell, the corn is really doing good. Last night, before the rain, I got out here and I got some fertilizer on the corn. And all I did was just use some triple 13 and put it down the side of it. And this first 2 rows here, I've got the dirt pulled back up on the corn, as you can tell. And then the other rows here, I just worked the fertilizer in before the rain. I'll continue pulling the dirt up on the corn. And the reason for pulling this dirt up on the corn is so that when the wind blows here in North Texas, this dirt, by pulling it up onto the corn, it holds it and supports it really well. Once we pull the dirt up on the corn, we won't have any issues with the wind blowing the corn over, barring it just being a really, really bad storm and a lot of high wind in it. But this right here will work to hold this corn and support it really well. And try to find some that I can kind of show you how it needs the dirt pulled up on it. It's really hard to tell because this is still kind of small, but you can just see really a lot of difference right here from not pulling the dirt up on it versus pulling the dirt up on it. It just gives it a lot of support. And we've had to replant some of this corn this year, so we've got some of it that's about 1 inch out of the ground all the way up to about 8 to 10 inches out of the ground here. But anyway, it's looking really good. This was a spot right here. You can see where we had to replant this corn right in here and all. One of the things I might mention here was the fact that last year, these 2 rows right here was where we had our potatoes. And I opted to move the potatoes to the other side because of the nut grass that was over here. And you can tell I'm still battling this nut grass. I haven't done any research yet on the nut grass to see if I can poison the nut grass and not affect the corn yet. So all I've been doing is hoeing it and hand pulling it out and everything. But if you know much about nut grass, the more you work it, it seems like the more it grows and all. But that's what I have done. The nut grass literally grew through the potatoes last year. I didn't even know that was possible. But we had nut grass that grew right through the center of some of our potatoes. And last year our potato crop was almost just a total failure. We pulled a few, but for the most part our potatoes did not make. And it was all because of the nut grass that was in them. The corn is allowing me to work in them a little bit better. Like I said, I'm just hoeing it and pulling them out of it and everything. You've noticed that my soaker hoses are basically just strewn out. Some of that's because I was hoeing in it last night and I was just pulling them to get it out of my way. But as we stop getting the rains, then we'll have our soaker hose pulled down through here to where we can water the corn as it needs watering. This is 2 rows of our speckled butter beans we've got planted. And we had a pretty good stand of this. We only planted maybe, just looking at it from right here, maybe about 4 or 5 different spots that it didn't come up, and I can see where it's starting to come up from where Debbie replanted our butter beans right here. Our butter beans in the past have made in the fall, so I'm hoping I've gotten them in the ground. The heat won't get to us, and we'll have a butter bean crop in the early spring here versus in the late fall. I think it's possible to have 2 crops of butter beans, but I have not pulled that off yet. But we've got a good stand of butter beans. Things are looking really good with the butter beans there. Well, guys, there's been some questions as to just how much garden space is actually here. But we're roughly about 100 by 100. On paper, what's covered in paper is about 50 by 100. We use the paper, hey, to get rid of the maintenance. The first year we gardened, I didn't come down the fence line with it. I had to mow over there. And I cannot tell y'all how many stickers I must have growed at the end of each row. It was a nightmare. So we covered that with paper. The black paper, there's been a lot of reservation about this black paper in North Texas and about the heat here. So far, the heat has not been a problem, but we do have our irrigation system sitting here on top of the paper where once it gets hot, we're able to water as much as we possibly need. As we think the garden needs it, we're able to water. And that would be the one thing I would tell you. But the paper here has been a lifesaver for us. Without the paper, I physically don't know that I could have gardened here because we haven't sprayed anything inside the fence as far as Roundup. This year I did early in the year spray the fence line with Roundup, but I have not sprayed inside the garden to kill weeds with any Roundup or anything. We've got a row of cucumbers here. Cucumbers are coming up real well. We'll be looking toward, we're going to try to trellis these this year. Last year I just let them run on top of the ground, and it really was, hey, pretty labor intensive keeping them picked. So we're going to try to trellis our cucumbers. Y'all be watching for that in the upcoming videos, to where our cucumbers are off the ground and straight up in the air. I've seen some things where the trellis is laid out like in a V, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that or not. We're going to work on that and try to get our cucumbers where they're not on the ground this year though. Of course, we got our yellow squash. We planted 2 different kinds of yellow squash. We planted our straight neck and then our crook neck squash is what we've planted. So squash looks like it's come up pretty good. I see a couple of places that it probably could be replanted. Zucchini's looking really well here. This is our zucchini here. It's looking really good. Debbie's got her some butternut squash at the far end. The butternut squash, we've planted it, but it hadn't made anything for us yet. But our zucchini and our regular yellow squash, summer squash, has done really well here. Buddy, hey, don't step on them watermelons there. Look out, where you stepping at? You ain't paying attention. Hey. Buddy. You little rat dog. You little rat dog. Come here, you little rat dog. Did you miss me today? You missed me today. I'm gonna pop you. We've got some green beans planted right here. As you can tell, we've had to go back in and replant a few places of those. Hoping our green beans make this year, we can put some green beans up. These 2 rows right here, not these 2. Those 2 rows over there are probably going to be used for okra in the future. Wait for the temperature to come up on the okra. It's the 1st of May, so really not no big hurry to get the okra in the ground. It'll make through the summer heat, but we're about to plant the okra probably the next week or 2 here. And a new one this year is we have planted us some sugar snap peas this year. Debbie wanted to try those. We have planted some sugar snap peas. Got us a row of peppers, and I've gone out and bought us some more peppers. We put a lot of peppers up, cowboy candy, and then just some whole jalapeno peppers. We put those up. So we use a lot of peppers, and I've still got more peppers to plant. And then here's our tomatoes that we've planted. And we have just got a variety of tomatoes this year. Not any particular kind. We've got Better Boys. I think we've got some Bushes, some Celebrities, just an array of different tomatoes, no particular kind. Matter of fact, I just turned around right here and look right here. We got a little tomato. That's set right there. One of the things I'm going to try to do this year is I'm going to try to keep these suckers peeled off of them as best I can. Keely talked about when she made some tomatoes year before last, the one thing she felt like she really stayed on top of was keeping the suckers pulled out of them. So I'm going to try that and just see how that goes. Here is your main trunk of your tomato, and then you see you got your leaves that come off. Then when it sprouts in between the leaf and the main stem here, that is what we call a sucker right there. You just reach over and pull those out of them. I haven't done that in a couple of days. There's another tomato, Keely, right there.
We had a bigger one back here. I saw it.
Did we? We got about 4 pepper plants right here on this row. Sweet banana peppers. Keep that right there with them. Then we got some broccoli right here. And the broccoli's really doing good. Debbie started all the broccoli from seed in the house and then transplanted out here into the garden itself. These are my green onions. I'm going to have to probably dig my green onions up and redo them, get them split back up. But these are just your salad green onions right here. And they've all gone to, you can pull all these off right here and plant these right here. So my onions need some attention, it looks like. As you can tell, these are the seeds right here. You could plant, just take these and stick them in the ground and they will grow. And you'd have green onions.
Smells like onions.
Yep. These came from Mississippi, guys. My uncle and my aunt told me if I would ever start these, that I would always have green onions. And if Keely will pan back, that is where I planted about 6 seeds over there in the yard. I haven't dug them up simply because that's where they started at. But those are coming up this year and coming out of the yard. And all.
You brought a handful back.
Yeah.
That's how much they've multiplied.
And I've given some away for somebody. I forget who I gave some to, but I gave these away to somebody. And all. We've got our carrots right here. This is the first time we've had carrots to be able to get them to germinate from seed. But here's our carrots. And it's not a bunch of carrots, but it's a few. And what we ended up having to do was we covered them. We put the seed out, and then we covered them with paper, keep them moist so that they would germinate. And Debbie got a few of them up this year. So that'll be one of the things we'll remember next year to do is be sure and keep them covered where we keep them moist and all. Our strawberries were moved over to this bed right here. Well, one thing about a garden, you just cannot stay on it quick enough. And we have been busy lately with chasing ball and, like I said, the rain and all. And the garden's going to need a little bit of attention this weekend. But anyway, strawberries are blooming, and we've been picking 1 or 2 here and there. And we're waiting for them to really start producing a few strawberries there. These are our blackberries. Blackberries are really doing good. And you see how they have bloomed out. And you see all the green blackberries right here that they're producing.
Show us this new trellis you made.
Well, so we planted, I don't know, we went, I think, to trade days or something and ended up buying some grapes. We have since bought a few more grapes. And this past week, David had been on to me about getting them trellised up to where we could get them growing up. So what we did was we went in and put our 4x4s in. I will say this, the one thing that I wasn't mindful of was when the grapes were planted, I did not keep them in a really good straight line. So I kind of offset my post to the grapes to where I could bring the grapes to it. And as you can see right here, I just took a piece of it. I think this is it's that green wire. It's got plastic and wire around the inside. We cut it off in lengths, wrapped it around it, pulled it up, and then I've wrapped it to the string right here. And this one right here, my goal is I'll probably in the next day or 2 come out here and put another one on this and pull it to the top to get these grapes coming to the top. Grapes is something I don't know anything about at this point, so we are kind of winging on the grapes, but we made a few grapes. And if you'll look right here, you can see some of the, down in here, look, you kind of see where they're making grapes at and everything. This is pretty good. Right there, yeah. Real good one right there. So we're just going to be watching the grapes and see what they do. But right now we're just trying to train them to the trellis. And all I did was we bought 4x4 posts. I believe it was Cog Hill Farms is where I saw this at. He was showing something, and hopefully one day I'm going to have something similar to that outside the garden on the front side up here, how he had done his fruit trees and blackberries and stuff. So, but our grapes will probably stay right here. And you can see this is where we're pulling this vine. This vine will eventually come to here, and we'll just keep training these to go on up to the top here, these ones we've got going toward the top. And I can't tell you how much they've already grown, but they're grown quite a bit.
These more blackberries?
Yep, more blackberries. The thing we're going to try to do here is we'll run them at 2 feet, 4 feet, and then up here at the top at 6 feet is going to be the goal. That's why we have the wire done the way that it's done. And the wire attaches on each end pole. I just drilled a hole in the center of each pole to run the wire through. And this is really taking off, it looks like. Fruit trees this year, we have set some peaches, and I've actually gone back to the peach trees and thinned them out. But our plums, I don't know if we got a frost or whatever, but something got to our plums. There's maybe 3 or 4 plums here total, but there's just not very many plums this year. The plums may need another year or 2 before we really start making any plums.
Is this year 3 on? I feel like it might be.
Yeah, the plum trees probably are year 3. The plums and the peaches are probably.
Apples, some of the apples were
This may be
replanted.
An original apple right here. We've lost an apple right there, and that's a new, those 2 are new apples on the far side. But the peaches right here have done really well, and I went in and I pulled just a bunch, and look right here. I pulled a lot of these little ones like this off of it, to where we got just a few peaches on it till it starts really getting bigger and can hold the weight of a lot of peaches. I've really thinned them back really hard. Like I said, our peach trees are still really young here. If you could look, you can just tell this little old limb right here, and it probably had 4 or 5 peaches on it. And I just left 1 peach on that limb. I see another little bitty one. I'm gonna pull that little one off. But there's still quite a few peaches on this peach tree. Look right in here.
Yeah, it's still pretty loaded.
And that's with me thinning it out. I probably missed some when I was doing it that day. We'll probably also come in here and eventually thin some of these limbs out just a little bit more. But anyway, it looks like we're probably going to make a few peaches. The pear and this apple, the apples haven't done anything yet. Well guys, that's kind of a tour of what's going on here at Red River Living in the garden. Things are growing. We're not harvesting nothing right now, but hopefully in about the next month or so, maybe we will, next 30 days, 30 to 45 days possibly. I believe the corn will probably come in around the 1st of July. Our corn has really done well over the years. And if y'all will remember, I like purple hull peas. But the purple hull peas, I don't put those in the garden until the corn's harvested. I bring the peas in after that. Those purple hulls can handle the heat really well. So I don't use other spots of the garden where I could do something different. I think out in the garden this year, there were some places that we didn't grow anything. We just had it covered. And that'll probably be some of the places I'll grow some of our other peppers this year. Well guys, as always, we appreciate y'all watching. We'd appreciate it if you would like and subscribe, and we'll see y'all next time. What are you? Don't watch. Oh, you're not supposed to be in here anyway. I'm gonna have to build this where you can't get in here. Come on, you little rat dog. Come on.